We are Team 13 and very happy to be with you here today. We started our project journey by also looking at problems in the music industry, and we wanted to address the issue of artist livelihood in the current environment. So kind of following up after Team 16's look at streaming services, and with all of the data that they presented, it only helps our case. We're really looking at NFTs and cryptocurrency and the blockchain and the way that it can have an impact and change artists' lives, and the way in which the industry can shape and shift and create new ways to engage with music for fans, for artists, and for all stakeholders involved in the industry as it currently exists. Can we go to the next slide? So in order to do this, we're looking at case studies. We're going to look at Shawn Mendes and Toby Lanez and their successes with NFTs, both of whom have taken very different approaches. Can you go to the next slide?
Yeah, so to start by looking at Toby Lanez, he released an NFT album called When It's Dark. He sold 1 million copies for $1 and sold out in 57 seconds. And his intention behind this NFT release was to release an album that is only available as an NFT and to boost his engagement on social media. You can go to the next slide. And then Shawn Mendes, he did a collaboration with Genies. So he took a very different approach than Toby Lanez. And he focused on the digital goods market, and his intention was to enter the NFT market after he had success with his record Wonder, and his intention was also to support the Shawn Foundation, which empowers young artists.
To dive into the case studies deeply, when we decided the time frame to look into the data, we decided to see about like 3 months before and after the NFT release date. So like the Toby Lanez NFT release date was August 10th, 2021, and he announced the NFT release information around like August 2nd. We can see that there's a little bit of the drop before the August 10th from the graph, but after the release, we found that there is a slow increase in Instagram followers. To make sure that we have a valid information, we look into like 6 weeks average of followers before and after the release of the NFT. Before the NFT, the average was about like a 10.4 millions. Then after the release, the average changed to like the 10.8 millions. Next slide, please. And the Shawn Mendes Instagram follower changes also shows a little bit similar patterns after the NFT release, which was February 26, 2021. It shows the slow increase of the followers numbers. However, when we try to validate our information by comparing the 6-week average before and after, it shows that there was a little bit slight decrease after the release of the NFT. But still, we think this is still interesting thing to look into it, since it shows like a consistent increase in followers numbers in the long term. Next slide.
To conclude with the data that we were finding, initially we thought we'd be able to answer our question about the potential of NFTs and artist livelihood by looking at data to demonstrate the ways that NFT has an impact on streaming or followers or listeners. We weren't able to locate that data, and so instead we focused on NFT campaigns and the ways that it affected social media and streaming. So what we learned through the process is that while we didn't have the data to support the ways in which artists can use NFT to leverage their careers or their livelihood, we are noticing that NFTs, just like Team 16 pointed out, they are having an impact on the industry. People are interested, and there are opportunities and potential for growth within Web3 and blockchain for the industry to look at, for artists to look at. And we do have emerging examples like OpenSea and Royal, who are doing marketplaces for artists to showcase their work, but also we have streaming platforms like Audius and a potential one like Musical that will create these opportunities for whatever the music industry is going to look like in the future. Thank you.
Right on time, guys. Great job. All right, judges, any questions for the team?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Zach.
Or wondering. So the cases you're looking into were obviously huge artists. Do you think NFT is a possibility for smaller artists as well? DIY artists or indie label artists?
We definitely do. We're seeing a lot of media evidence. We couldn't find data to support that information that we were finding. So that's why we had to go to the bigger artists. We were definitely much more interested in approaching this question with smaller, more indie artists, building communities and having great success in a way that they could find themselves in a sustainable career. We just couldn't find the data to support that approach that we wanted to take.